good hit. Oh, I've got a nosebleed now.
Wow, aren't we lucky to have heard that original recording of two brothers having a pillow fight in London, 1541. Truly astonishing. Hello, and welcome back to the final couplet with me, Theo Cowan. I hope you've all had a good week. I have got a bit of a cold, I'm afraid to say, but don't worry, I'm ploughing through. I'm so bad when I'm ill. I'm basically assume that I've got the worst cold that's ever existed, and I do a lot of moaning, and I really feel sorry for myself. So really, to drag myself out of bed and record this was quite a big deal for me. So well done me. I'm going to give myself a big pat on the back. And today, of course, we're looking at Sonnet 99. Wow, we've nearly made it to Sonnet 100. But Sonnet 99 is a very interesting sonnet. It's a medical mystery, or should I say literature mystery, because there's 15 lines in this sonnet. And I know what you're thinking. Hold on, Theo. Sonnets are usually 14 lines, aren't they? I thought that was the whole vibe of a sonnet. That you've got your 12 lines and then you've got your 2-line final couplet, and that is the structure. But no, not today. Shakespeare has gone off-piste. He's a maverick. He's always experimenting, isn't he, with new forms. So what he's done here is he's popped on a 15th line. The crazy guy. And of course the jury's out as to whether he just accidentally popped on an extra line. He just got a bit carried away, did it, and then forgot that sonnets are meant to have 14 lines. Or the more likely story, and the one that historians are obviously backing, is that he did it on purpose to break up form, maybe to end a period of time, potentially, almost as a full stop to a collection of sonnets. But whatever happened, and we'll never know, because Shakespeare's sadly passed o'er, it's got an extra line. And also, I should note that it feels like a direct continuation on from Sonnet 98. So if you haven't listened to that, maybe go back, have a listen, because I think it does inform Sonnet 99. He's still talking about flowers. If you remember in Sonnet 98, I said that he was somewhere maybe like Vauxhall Gardens. He was observing the flowers, talking about how they relate to his lover. And Sonnet 99 continues that thought, but he gets a bit more detailed, as you'll soon hear. Right, let's take a listen, shall we? Sonnet 99. The forward violet thus did I chide. Sweet thief, whence didst thou steal thy sweet that smells, if not from my love's breath? The purple pride which on thy soft cheek for complexion dwells, in my love's vein thou hast too grossly dyed. The lily I condemned for thy hand, and buds of marjoram had stolen thy hair. The roses fearfully on thorns did stand, one blushing shame, another white despair, a third, nor red nor white, had stolen of both, and to his robbery had annexed thy breath. But for his theft, in pride of all his growth, a vengeful canker ate him up to death. More flowers I noted, yet I none could see but sweet or colour it had stolen from thee. The famous 15-line sonnet from William Shakespeare. There it is in all its glory. And as I said, he does certainly go into some serious detail with flowers on this one. Over the last 10 or so sonnets, he has mentioned flowers quite a lot, so maybe he did write this little section in spring, and, you know, the 15-line Sonnet 99 is maybe capping that season, and we're going to move on from spring, potentially. I haven't actually, I can't say that we're going to, because I haven't properly looked at Sonnet 100 yet, so we could still be in spring. But that is a possibility, for sure. And I'd say the overall essence of this sonnet is Shakespeare talking directly to these flowers and accusing them of stealing his lover's sort of attributes, if you will, positive attributes. So his lover's smell and his lover's complexion. He's going up to these flowers and going, hey, you stole my lover's lovely red cheeks or lovely white hands. You stole them. So just so you know, all right, that's not good. And just so you know the origins of how you look, you got that from my lover, all right? So, it's definitely weird what he's doing. He's some would say he's lost his mind a little bit. You're going a bit mad if you're talking to flowers directly, potentially. But then Shakespeare wrote some crazy plays, so maybe it does make sense. Right, let's break this bad boy down line by line and work out what the hell Shakespeare was going on about in Sonnet 99. So we start with, the forward violet, thus did I chide. So here he's saying, you went up to this violet, all right? Imagine he's in a field of flowers, and he went up to the violet, and the violet is presumptuous, is forward. And he chides it, he scolds the violet, and here's what he says. Sweet thief, whence didst thou steal thy sweet that smells, if not from my love's breath? So he's accusing this violet. Maybe he's got the violet by the scruff of the neck, aka the stem. And he's saying, hey, sweet thief, where did you steal your lovely sweet smell from, if it wasn't from my love's breath? So we're establishing that his lover has some very lovely sweet breath. Sweet breath is quite interesting. Wonder what he's been eating. I usually associate sweet breath with baby breath, sort of that sort of milky sweetness. But that would be quite weird if an adult had that sweet breath. So it's almost like an interrogation of the violet, isn't it? He's saying, where did you get that lovely smell from if it wasn't from my lover's sweet breath? Tell me. Then he continues, the purple pride which on thy soft cheek for complexion dwells, in my love's veins thou hast too grossly dyed. So obviously, of course, the violet is a purple colour. And he's saying, you've got that purple colour that you're so proud of from the blood, actually, of my love's veins. So you've almost taken that blood and you've dyed yourself the colour of that blood. And I think what I'm picturing, veins, when you look at them, they're not red, are they? They do have a sort of purpley hue when you see them through your skin. And that's what I'm imagining there. And I guess he's sort of describing his lover's health and vibrancy here. The lily I condemned for thy hand. So now he's on talking to the lily, and he's saying, I told the lily off, I condemned the lily for mimicking your hand. And I guess here lilies are white, so the sort of white porcelain nature, perhaps, of his lover's hand, the lily is mimicking that, and that's not on. Don't really know why he's so angry at the flowers. Surely he should just be like, by the way, you took that from my lover, just to let you know. Doesn't need to get so violent and angry about it. And buds of marjoram had stolen thy hair. So marjoram buds, so the early form, I suppose, of marjoram flower, he's having a go at them as well for stealing his lover's hair. And that does give you a little indication of what his lover might have looked like in the hair department. If you search up marjoram buds, flowers, they've got a sort of curly vibe to them, sort of tight curls. So that's how I imagine his lover's hair. Lovely head of hair. They probably didn't have green hair, probably didn't take the colour from the marjoram, I'd imagine. And then he moves on. The roses fearfully on thorns did stand. So I imagine he's chatting to the marjoram here. He's obviously been chatting to the violets and the lilies, been talking to the marjoram, and then he shoots a look, and there across the way are the roses, and they're quivering, they're quaking, they're fearfully stood there on thorns. One blushing shame, another white despair. So here he's taking the different colours of roses, and he's saying one of the roses is blushing, red with shame. And the other one is white, is pale white with despair. So I guess here, the fact that he's looking over at the roses and they're all guilty and worried, is that they have also stolen his lover's colours, the reds and the whites. And then he continues with, a third, nor red nor white, had stolen of both. So amongst the roses, there's also a third rose, which is a mixture of the reds and whites. So that rose has stolen both of your colours, Shakespeare's lover's colours. And I guess we're sort of talking about his complexion here, his lovely complexion, healthy complexion. And to his robbery had annexed thy breath. So not only had he taken the colours of Shakespeare's lover's complexion here, he'd also, while he was at it, robbed the smell of Shakespeare's lover's breath as well, much like the violet. So make up your mind, Shakespeare, actually. Has your lover got the breath of a violet or the breath of a rose? Different smells. But either way, he's fuming here, Shakespeare. He's going, you bastard, you've stolen the complexion, you've stolen all of your looks, but you've stolen the smell as well. And that's not on. But, and there is a but coming, here it is. But for his theft, in pride of all his growth, a vengeful canker ate him up to death. So actually, almost as a punishment for this rose stealing the colour and breath of his lover, a canker, so a sort of vengeful worm, has destroyed the rose. It's eaten that proud, cocky rose up. Take that, rose. And now, of course, we're on to the final couplet. Well, not of course, because you might have thought that we were on it already, because this is obviously 15 lines. More flowers I noted, yet I none could see, but sweet or colour it had stolen from thee. So here he's saying, look, I actually noticed a lot of other flowers as well, and I couldn't see any that hadn't stolen your sweetness or colour. So there we have it, Sonnet 99, and it kind of just feels like Shakespeare's just wandering through a flower garden and improvising, riffing off the different flowers that he's seeing. He's saying, yep, you stole that, you stole that, you stole the breath and the looks, and that's not on, so you're actually getting eaten by a worm and you deserve that because you're a thief. It's quite a... Well, I mean, it's lovely the way he's putting it, but it is quite an unhinged poem, especially if you were receiving this as Shakespeare's lover. You'd have to go, look, Shakespeare, this is nice and everything, I like the imagery, but you got to stop accusing flowers. That's crazy talk. Right, I think it's about time we put this to our story. And if you remember last week, Shakespeare, of course, had taken Christopher Marlowe, his lover, to his holiday cottage, but Christopher Marlowe, he's been struggling with sex and love addiction, all right? And Shakespeare thought the best idea was to keep him locked up in his holiday cottage and return to London and just let him get over his addiction. So for months, Shakespeare did that. And eventually, Christopher Marlowe broke out of his imprisonment and managed to get back to London, knocked on Shakespeare's door. Shakespeare opens up and is like, oh God, all right, I didn't expect you so soon. I was going to come and let you out later. But Marlowe's obviously fuming. He's saying, how could you do that? And Shakespeare said, look, you needed it. It's the only thing to help you get over your addiction. And by the way, mate, I've had a tough time too, actually. It's been really hard being away from you. Let me read you this sonnet. Christopher Marlowe hits Shakespeare, actually. He's so angry. But he does allow Shakespeare to read Sonnet 98, which is all about how hard it was to be away from him, because it was like being in winter, and we all know how much Shakespeare hates winter, and how the flowers were basically drawn in imitation of Christopher Marlowe. So let's see how Christopher Marlowe receives this sonnet, and how Sonnet 99 fits into all this. Shakespeare finishes reading Sonnet 98 to Christopher Marlowe. Marlowe says, I can't believe you're reading this to me. Look, I understand it's been hard for you, but can you imagine me being locked up in your holiday cottage? And Shakespeare says, well, it's a nice cottage, to be fair. I bought it for quite a lot. And it's lovely countryside round there. Marlowe says, yeah, I know, but I couldn't go out. I was locked in. It was awful, Shakespeare. I had a really tough time. And Shakespeare says, I know, I get it. And I'm sorry. Marlowe says, I just don't know if I can be with someone like this. Someone that treats me like that. Someone that locks me up. I am not a caged animal. And Shakespeare says, I understand. But I need to tell you something else. And this might seem crazy. All right? But, look, come with me now. Marlowe says, oh, Shakespeare, I can't do this anymore. I can't go off with your wild ideas. And Shakespeare grabs Christopher Marlowe by the hand and leads him out of the house. He runs along the streets with Christopher Marlowe in tow, trying to escape his grip. They run and run over Vauxhall Bridge and into, of course, Vauxhall Gardens. It's a hell of a run. They're both sweating profusely. Christopher Marlowe is absolutely knackered. He keeps saying, Shakespeare, where are you taking me? What are you doing? I think this relationship is over. And eventually, Shakespeare stops. They're in the middle of a big field. They've been here recently. Shakespeare, of course, had talked to Marlowe about the flowers not too long ago. Shakespeare, I get it, you're gonna talk about flowers again. But I think I need to go. And Shakespeare says, you can't go. I've noticed something. These flowers, they're all thieves. All right? And Marlowe says, sorry. Oh, what the hell are you talking about? Look, hey, come here, quick. Look at this violet. Look at this little bastard. He's a thief. He's taken your smell. Marlowe says, oh, Shakespeare, I think you've lost your mind. I think you need help. No, I don't. Your breath, your lovely sweet breath smells like this violet. Look, quickly, smell. And he grabs Marlowe's head and pushes it into the violet. And the colour of your veins, your lovely veins, they look like the violet too. I mean, look at this flower, hey? Look at this rose. That's stolen your complexion. It's ridiculous. It's not on. We should be having a go at these flowers. We should be chiding them. I've been coming here every day, Marlowe. I've been down on my hands and knees, and I've been telling these flowers off for what they're doing. Stealing from you. They shouldn't steal from you. Marlowe says, okay, Shakespeare, I think we should go home and have a nice cup of tea. And Shakespeare says, no. I've written about this. I've written a sonnet. And Marlowe says, no, honestly, I don't need to hear the sonnet because that would be crazy. And Shakespeare said, no, this is a special sonnet. It's got an extra line just for you because I love you so much and because of the flowers. Marlowe breaks away from Shakespeare and starts to walk off. Shakespeare pulls Sonnet 99 from his back pocket, runs after him, reciting at the top of his voice. Sonnet 99. I scolded the presumptuous violet. Sweet thief, where did you steal your lovely sweet smell from if it wasn't from my love's breath? You got the purple colour you're so proud of from the blood of my love's veins. I told the lily off for mimicking the white of your hand, and the marjoram buds for stealing your hair. The roses stood by terrified, one blushing red with shame, the other pale with despair, and a third was there that had stolen both, and added the smell of your breath to his robbery. But for his theft, a vengeful worm killed the proud rose by eating it to death. I noticed more flowers, and I couldn't see any that hadn't stolen its sweetness or colour from you. Wow. So there we have it, Sonnet 99. Shakespeare has gone a little bit crazy. I'm worried for him. But this was a really interesting one. The famous Sonnet 99 with 15 lines. Good to get stuck into it. Next week, I'm hoping to have a little guest on the podcast. You might have heard his voice before, many sonnets ago. But if it all works out, he'll be joining me this week to look at Sonnet 100 and 101. Until then, goodbye.